And spawning in the bottom hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have last week's champion, by the way. We have the Canadian Protoss, we have the Teal Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. Exclamation mark donate. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the orange Zerg player. You have the Polish Zerg representing himself, currently teamless. It is Elazer. Chat, how do we donate to the Bunny Fund? You can help donate. I believe there's a Stream Elements link. There's a Stream Elements link if you wish to donate. But yeah, it's been a very rough 2026. It's been very rough, and the donation bar it won't cover all the expenses, but it will help. It will help. I want to say that over the past 2 weeks we've spent like $4,000 on medical bills. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. So yeah, it's been a big blow. But you know, our bunnies are recovering. They're recovering. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. There's more bills to come as well. Looking forward to that, Pappy. Looking forward to that. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay. It's the bunny can. So our players are going to be opening up. Standard opening here by Trigger. Likewise, Elazer going for a hatch gas pool as well. I'm really excited to see how Elazer does approach this, by the way. Once again, Elazer, he did go on a massive hiatus, a massive break from StarCraft. Elazer, he only came back in the most recent patch and map pool. The majority of the year, Elazer, he was playing AoE. He was playing Age of Empires 4 instead. So Elazer, he recently came back to StarCraft, has been enjoying the patch, enjoying the map pool, and has been having some success. Like, we've been seeing some deeper and deeper runs out of Elazer, which we often did not see in the past. So Elazer has been achieving a little bit more here, and we'll see how he compares to Trigger, who again is last week's champion. Trigger, he defeated Clem in the finals of last week's tournament, and we'll see if Trigger can actually reprise his role in the finals 2 weeks in a row. And our Stargate opener out of Trigger. Does go for the Stargate. But yeah, it's been a very, as we're telling, it's been a very stressful time here, like, especially not just when it comes to, like, you know, going to the vets and medical bills, but I'm sure bunny owners in the chat, I think Seagirl owns some bunnies as well, are aware, but you know, at post vet visits, and especially like overnight stays as well, because bunnies come back home and they don't smell like they used to, bonds can be broken and often are broken, and that is the case with our bunnies right now. Unfortunately, she had to stay overnight at a vet hospital, and returning that our bodies are strangers to each other, which is really sad, and we have to kind of go through the bonding process again with them. Doesn't help that most likely, like in a week's time, Chi-Chi has to go again to the vet to get spayed, to get desexed, and then when she comes back, most likely again, like this, yeah, it's the bonds have been broken, and hopefully we're able to, you know, bring them back together again. It's unfortunate that we have to keep them separated at the moment. It's marriage, man. It's marriage. It's unfortunate. But it's all good. We'll make it. We'll make it. Otherwise, again, we're just joining up. We're just saturating. Building up our bases. Four bodies, yeah. 4 bodies. Trigger breaks in. Again, just the opening up with the Oracle. Does take a lot of hits already, though. It takes a lot of hull damage here. Does at least find a second drone. Trigger's been in a bad slump. What do you mean? He just beat Clem last week. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I guess I should reiterate once again. For those who don't know, Trigger, he was last week's WardiTV Monday champion. Did take down Clem, which was crazy. For those that maybe haven't been watching much StarCraft recently. Trigger does catch a couple of drones. That's going to be 4 transferring workers getting caught out. Nice catch here by Trigger. Behind this, setting up for his 4 bases and getting into the rest of his tech. Double Forge, Twilight Council as well. This is a little bit greedy here by Trigger, but as a reminder, you can get away with this greed because of the map itself. We didn't really get to discuss it, but welcome to Celestial Enclave. On this map, you do have a pocket base, so you can take as a 4th, 5th, or 6th. So there's a very secure 4-base setup here for Trigger, and with this, he can defend, tech up, and build up even into Sky Toss. It is not uncommon to just see hybrid defensive Protoss play in ZvP on Celestial to get into that higher late game composition. We'll see if Elazer can stop him. Elazer, he's going to early Evo Chamber, +1 melee into typically Ling Hydra. Ling Hydra should be the tech of choice here from Elazer, and we'll see if Elazer can try to break Trigger before we even think about Sky Toss. As Oracles, they do poke in. Elazer spores don't see often. Yeah, there's a spore in each base. I will say that Elazer, in his return to StarCraft, he has not been as greedy as he used to be. Like, I want to say a couple of years ago, even last year, for a long time, Elazer, he was known for being hyper greedy, right? He was known for being hyper greedy, where he would skip spores, he would lose like 10 drones, but because he would drone up so much, he would just have a greater economy anyway. It was crazy. But after Elazer's pseudo retirement, now that he recently came back to StarCraft, he hasn't been that same kind of player, which, to be fair, has been really exciting. It's been really cool to see kind of a different kind of nature, a different kind of style out of Elazer. And again, we'll see if he can get there. For now, there's that Hydrogen, as we did mention, so Lingbane Hydra out of Elazer. Meanwhile, we do see that Trigger is still building up, getting a 5th expansion as well. Wall of cannons, wall of shield batteries. In my mind, we should be seeing a fleet beacon soon. We'll see if, again, he does intend on taking up into Sky Toss, or if he intends on staying on a more mid-tier composition instead. As the cannons and shield batteries are finishing up, Trigger taking the defensive stance. Again, we should be seeing either a fleet beacon or like a bay into Colossus production. We have the answer. We're going for a Templar Archive Storm. So Storm is going to be on the way. Archons as well. It does feel like this tech is late. Like Trigger, he has gas. He has gas remaining, so it does feel like a little bit of a slip up macro-wise there. When it comes to his further tech, it does feel like Trigger is vulnerable, stuck with purely a gateway composition. Elazer, he's amassing his Lingbane Hydra. Elazer is done droning, is up to 79. And Screen and Spore are in position. Elazer, he'll soon push. He's soon going to push, he's soon going to commit. And again, Storm is late. Storm is late for Trigger. Without Storm, I don't know if he can hold on. Lingbane is rolling in, Baiting Speed finishing up in 2 seconds. Elazer does commit, breaks through the Zealots. Breaks through the charge, so it's now gets us up the army, and again, this tech here is just too late for Trigger. He's going to be broken. Okay, it should be broken here. Lings a trickle on forward. Hydra starts to step in as well. Trigger pulling back. 5th base will fall. And Elazer may just break the 4th from here. You just keep pushing. Just keep on pushing. Speaking of, Bailings to get into the 4th. 11 probes go down. And again, Trigger, he had a really nice setup. He had a very nice setup overall when it came to his 4th base timing, his 5th base timing. As you mentioned, Trigger, he was banking minerals, he was banking gas, and his tech was late. It was... Oh. It was surprisingly late. And with that, Trigger, he's lost his 5th, and if played well here, Elazer should never allow Trigger to get a 5th base. Elazer can just rebuild, remax, build up another wave of Lingbane Hydra, and once again, break the 5th. Now, you could argue that Elazer, he could afford to take up. What I mean by that is taking up into Hive, taking up into Lurkers, but I don't really think Elazer needs to. At this stage of the game, like, it's not necessary. It would be nice, don't get me wrong. It would be nice to see a Lurker Den or to see an Infestation Pit. Elazer going for a split push. Distracting at the 4th base. Main army here towards the 5th. And from here, he will force that cancel. Oh, that's going to be a kill. Yeah, kill, not a cancel. Massive pickup. Ay, ay, ay. But again, this was kind of determined when the 5th base went down for the first time. Like, momentum is just heavily in favor of Elazer, and Trigger doesn't really have anything to deal with this. Bailey's a roll in, massive connections, gets the entire mineral line. And Elazer, he will break this 4th base. Again, there's just no power units here. Whether it's Colossus, whether it's Storm, whether it's a heavy Archon counts, it's not here. And with that, the base will fall. And GG gets called. GG gets called. Elazer, he does take the first game. He takes a lead in the series. Ooh, GG. GG, well played. Once again, Trigger, even though he was expanding well, even though he was setting up well, there was one big misstep there for Trigger, and that was his tech, right? Whether it was going to be the Bay, the Twilight Council, the Fleet Beacon, whatever it was going to be, in the end, it was the Temple Archives, not Twilight Council, but it was the Temple Archives. It was so late, so delayed, so late, and because of that, it was not ready. The High Templar, the Archons, the Storm, was not ready for the main push. Wasn't ready for the main push. When it arrived, GG. GG, well played. Trigger, he lost his 5th base and he never established a 5th base from there. And now we're getting into game 2. And again, Elazer playing well here, playing well. This is what I mentioned before. I'm very excited to see how Elazer's playing, just because he did essentially retire from the game. He took a massive hiatus and only recently came back and has been doing well for himself. Has been doing well. And here we go, spawning in the right hand corner of the Old Republic. We have the Canadian Protoss player, the Teal Protoss, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the we have the red Zerg player, the Polish Zerg, leading the series 1-0. It is Elazer. And as we get into this, a big shout out to Tishish 36, the 36 in the chat. Thank you so much for sorry, not 36. Thank you so much to C Grail. My apologies. I mean, a shout out to 36 as well. Shama. But a shout out to C Grail in the chat for donating, for tipping $13.37. Gracias, papi. I figured it out. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you so much for the tip. We do appreciate it. Every little bit does help. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. It's been a very stressful 2026 so far, so all the help is appreciated. Gracias. So now we are going to be settling in. And welcome to the Old Republic. Another one of these larger maps, but now I'm that much more concerned for Trigger. Getting into this game and getting into the Old Republic, getting into this map is known for having a notoriously difficult 4th base to defend. The 3 base setup here is fine. We do have sure 2 entrances here, but we have some high ground, we have some choke points. For the most part, your army should be situated here at the 3rd base anyway, so we have a relatively defendable 3 base setup. But the 4th base, whether it's the low ground 4th, which does have 2 massive entrances here on the left and right hand side, or even the linear 4th base, which also has a wide entrance and also a longer rush distance from 4th to 3rd, we have seen many a player attempt and fail to defend both 4th bases. I bring this up just because typically in this matchup, the Protoss player wants to build up into a higher base count, into a stronger mid game, and into a stronger late game. To do so, you need your 4th, you need your 5th base, and this map typically favors Zerg players that are more aggressive, that intend on breaking those expansions. So I will say it's going to be more difficult for Trigger to expand here, more difficult to defend. Last game, Trigger's 5th base was broken. This game, his 4th, is going to be the big difficult one to maintain. But we'll see. We shall see. I would hope that after the last game, Trigger will tighten up his build. Ooh, Elazer going for the forward expansion. This does allow for creep to spread that much faster across the map. Can be indicative of something more aggressive. And now Stargate opener out of Trigger. Philip gets in. Does he get a drone? He gets 1. 1 drone goes down. Does he get 2? Oh, delayed reactions, but we do see Elazer barely save one of the drones. We'll still lose a 2nd worker there. Nice damage out of Trigger. 2 drones for 1 adept. Gets 2 workers. Another adept has arrived. Shading back home. Does shade back. Third base is exposed. I believe the Oracle is already out, and with that, Trigger should defend. Does hold, does defend. Here we're taking up. It is going to be a slightly faster lair out of Elazer. Interesting. So Elazer is deviating. If you remember last game, what did we see? We saw an earlier Evo chamber +1 melee into a later lair. This time, there's no chamber. There's no Evo chamber here. This could be indicative of potentially a faster Spire, to go into a faster Spire, into faster mutas, or to go into a heavier Hydra count by skipping kind of like the Ling Bane phase. We do have a safety Baneliness on the way. I believe that is just for safety. Extra gases are being taken, 4 gases so far. Based on what we're seeing here, it does feel like Spire, it does feel like mutas. We'll see what he throws down when it comes to the lair tech. Is it the Spire? Is it the Hydra Den? So Oracles they poke in. The guys on the Baneling Nest. Getting a drone so far. Gets one. One, gets two. Spore is not yet done at the third base. Late Spore out of Elazer. Oh my god. Getting it to 7 drones. Yeah, nice damage here by Trigger. And we have the tech of choice. It is a Hydra Den. Cancels the Baneling Nest. No Spire. Now, what I will say is that this is not a standard build out of Elazer. I tried to emphasize earlier that he skipped his Evo chamber. He went for a faster lair. So fast lair, fast Hydras. This looks like an all-in. It is not uncommon to go for a 3-base all-in, join up to 3 bases, get a 4th base just for Larva, and go purely Ling Hydra, and that would be the reason as to why there's no Evo chamber. There's no Evo chamber, there's no upgrades, because Elazer doesn't intend the game to last that long. It also makes sense with the forward third, if you remember. The forward third base, faster creep, faster reinforcements. Trigger, he is applying pressure with his Stalkers. He's up to 5, soon to be 6 at gateways. Taking his gases. Trigger building up into the mid game. Does catch a queen. Oh, and the Elazer does go for the counter attack. Lings, they hit the third. They hit the natural. Trigger does keep pushing. Can he get on top of the Hydras? Again, there's not many defensive Lings. Such stepping forward. Some of the Hydras finally going to be going down, getting 1, 2, up to 3 Hydras. Back at home, Trigger defends when losing 2 probes. Elazer, he is hurting. There's 22 more Lings on the way. Ooh, stasis goes off. And Elazer's all in. As we mentioned, the 4th base just for Larva. It's just for Larva. No Evo chamber, no upgrades, pure Ling Hydra. But did Elazer lose too much? He lost 3 Hydras. Okay, lost 3 Hydras so far. He's gearing up here for the 2nd wave. I don't know if I'm fond of the idea of Trigger being proactive like this. He's being very aggressive. Does go for the center expansion. Elazer once again avoids the main army, going for the counterattack, which means he will lose the 3rd. 3rd base goes down. Lings, they try to collapse in. And Trigger turns around. Yeah, good call. Good call. He recalls back home. And remember, Trigger just has to survive. Just survive the all-in. And Trigger's going to clean up all these Hydras. Yeah, the Hydras, there's no way out. There's no escape. Elazer losing far too much here. And Elazer, he has no longevity. GG gets called. The all-in fails. And Trigger ties up the series 1-1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. Again, Elazer was completely all in. So for Elazer to lose all those Hydras, I mean, that was the backbone of his army. That was all that he had. He had nothing else behind it. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going all the way to the ace match. I was concerned that Trigger was being overly aggressive, considering it was Elazer that was all in, but because Elazer went for the counterattack, he lost his center base. So it was a good call by Trigger in the end. It was a good call. He was able to kill the center expansion, cripple Elazer, and then recall it back home to defend. So GG, well played. He was able to recall in time, and now we're going all the way to game number 3. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the the Canadian Protoss player. We have the teal Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the orange Zerg player, the Polish Zerg, being forced into a tied series. We'll see if we can bring it back. It is Elazer. Here we go. Once again, as a reminder, Elazer last game went for a 4 minutes 15 lair timing, so very early lair timing. We confirmed that it was for a fast Hydrogen for a lair tech all-in off of 3 bases. But welcome to Winter Madness. I don't expect to see an all-in this time. Here we do have a much more defendable third and a much more defendable fourth base as well. As you can see here, yes, the fourth base is on the low ground, but there's a much more narrow choke point here, and again, a much more narrow entrance into the third base as well, so much more defendable on 4 bases. As a result, we often do see longer and later games on Winter Madness. We'll see how Elazer will approach this. Do we finally see Muta play, or do we see a greedier build out of Elazer? I don't expect to see an all-in. Not this time. So far, hatch gas pool, standard opener out of Elazer. Trigger likewise, gate expand. Everything looking normal. Is it meta to replay cards WardiTV Mondays on a Monday? True, true. This reminds me of Clem running out of scans on the same map against Rainer. The macro was too good, Bap. It was too good. Too good. So here we're still just going to be building up. Again, soon we'll be seeing the tech of choice, whether Elazer goes once again for a fast lair, whether he goes into a faster Evo chamber, or even a safety Roach Warren, which we have yet to see. But for the most part, I expect to see a greedier style out of Elazer. Is what we're expecting. Similar to game 1, where Elazer, when he droned up to 80 workers, right? He just droned up to 80, then maxed out with Link Main Hydra. Stargate is on the way. Trigger getting into his oracles. And for now, we just have a little dance. It's the dance here with the Adepts and the Lings. Last game, the Adept was able to get 2 drone kills. This time, Elazer's keeping up. It's keeping up with the Adepts. And bearing in mind that 2 Adepts can one-shot drones. So the second Adept is on the way, and that's going to be a bigger power spike here for Trigger. And this does need to be respected. Safe threat in the shade. Lings, they react, they respond. Trigger, he commits in. Gets a Zergling. Heads for the mineral line. Ooh, doesn't get the drone. See Elazer wall off in time with the Evo chamber. And again, so far, Elazer does keep up. Link speed is now done, so Trigger should be pulling back. The first Oracle has arrived. He threatens a shade and does commit, actually. Okay, gets 1. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 drones going to be going down. Once again, he does one-shot workers. Doesn't quite get the 4th, but 3 drone kills, not too bad. And here comes the Oracle. Ooh, does take a lot of hits. Takes a lot of damage. Again, keeping Elazer busy. Gets 1 drone. The third base is going to be a little bit exposed here for Trigger, but his second Oracle should be staying at home to defend. Oh, he moves out, which means these Lings, they might find some damage. Usually they wouldn't, but Trigger did lose both adepts, which otherwise would be back at home to defend. Ah, never mind, he warped into never mind. Warped into adepts, he should be fine. He's in position. Trigger finding some more damage. Gets, forcing out 2 spores. But nothing major. Meanwhile, we have the tech of choice. It is going to be early Evo Chamber into +1 melee. This is the same build that Elazer went for in Game 1. Same build as we saw on Celestial Enclave. So this time Elazer, he's not going for the all-in. He's just getting to +1. Safety Bailey Nest. The downside of this build is that Elazer has a later lair, which means later detection or later tech. But again, it's just building up into a macro game. So Elazer's droning. This time Trigger has a much better time at Temple Archives. If you remember, this was thrown down like at what, 7 minutes last time in Game 1. It was crazy late. Maybe even later than that, actually. But this time he will have Storm ready. All in all, cleaner play at a Trigger compared to what we saw in Game 1. Meanwhile, Elazer, his goal here should just be drone. Just drone up to 80. Drone up to 80, get up to 5 bases, take your gases, get into Hydras, and then build up into Ling and Bane Hydra. Now, I will say there's a higher chance that Elazer takes extra gases and actually techs up into Hive. The same build that we saw in Game 1, which is just running up to 80 and maxing out on Ling Bane Hydra and killing Trigger, should be less effective. I said at the start of the game how the 4th base is much more defendable here. I stand by that. A much more defendable 4th base, much more secure as well. On top of that, Trigger actually has Storm this time, so that aggressive nature that we saw out of Elazer in Game 1 should not be as effective here in Game 3. So I would want to see an Infestation Pit. I'd want to see a Lurker Den. I want to see Elazer think a little bit further ahead. But we'll see, he might still find an opening anyway. True. He might still find an opening. As Elazer, he is now done droning. He's droned up to 82. He's on 5 bases. He's on 5 gases as well. If he takes an extra gas geyser, then that would be indicative of further tech, like a Lurker Den. For now, though, just purely Ling Bane Hydra. Slings, they try to poke in, they get a Zealot maybe. Shield Battery. Oh, the Oracles get called out. Barely being saved. There are extra gases on the way. Okay, yeah, my attention. Getting up to 6 gases. Oh, now we see why. I was like, extra gases? Are we going to see an Infestation Pit? No. We're going to see Drop a Lord's Pappy. Let's go. We're going for a massive Dune Drop across the map. Elazer, he's going to commit. Very committed play. As Trigger's pushing with Mass Storm. Oof. Do we have any Banelings, by the way? Zero Banelings, no Baneling speed either. Oh no. Lings, they do counterattack, but this main army may not be dealt with. I mean, there's so many Storms, and it's purely Ling Hydra. Yes, Storms they punish, massive Storms. And Trigger may just snowball out of control. The Drop Lords are running into the army, so Drop Lords are going down. Meanwhile, the 3rd base does fall. Storms are connecting. There's still, what, 4 Storms left? One more Storm, there's a 2nd, there's a 3rd. A little bit cavalier with those final Storms. Trigger, he has to be careful. He needs reinforcements. And once again, these last 2 Storms have been less than ideal. Trigger, he's running out of Storms. He had so many initially, but was a little bit too wasteful there. And we need more Warpins. Trigger, he has 1,000 minerals. Where's the Warpin? Pappy, we need reinforcements. Trigger's been missing Warpins, missing Microcycles, blinks in, he blinks into the Hydras. Yeah, that was a rough blink. High Templar, they finally arrive after the Stalkers go down. And Elazer holds. Elazer, he holds on. There was so much potential with this army here for Trigger. But late warpins, late reinforcements. You can see 1,600 minerals in the bank there for Trigger. And Trigger, his main army does crumble. Elazer holds. Elazer, he holds on. Trigger, wait, how many gateways do we have? 8. Soon to be 9. Cannons now being thrown down. Trigger's trying to spend his money. He's lost momentum. Trigger's in danger. Again, initially things are looking good, but as the storms are being wasteful, there were no extra warpins. Losing the third base did hurt as well, of course. Did hurt. And Trigger, he had the tools. He had the tools to break and to kill Elazer, but wasn't quite able to pull it off. Now, with these storms, Trigger can defend. Can hold on. But once again, he doesn't want to waste them. Beats up the Lings, getting himself with some of the Hydras at the same time. Drop into the natural. Nicely done here by Elazer. He drops in. Yeah, Ling Hydra in the main. More probes going down. No critical damage is what I will say. The Trigger is being torn apart. And the supply just isn't there. It just doesn't have enough. Storm of the natural. Elazer just rallying across the map. He's rallying in. Trying to get on top of the Immortals. Once again, Trigger barely holding. He's down to 0 High Templar, 0 Archons. Trigger barely survives, but again, it was a very expensive hold. As Elazer, it's his turn to overextend. That was calm down, Elazer, calm down. Bearing in mind that Elazer's army is also very fragile. It's a very fragile composition. Going for another drop. And drop does unload. Elazer rotating towards the left-hand side. Trigger, he's trying to keep up. He does have some High Templar ready. Does have a couple of Templar. Trigger, he defends his natural. Nice storm. Okay. Yeah, storms are landing well. Trigger defending with the bare minimum. Like, now he's finally locking in, but it's still a really tough hold here. 11 probes still go down. And now we have Banelings. We've been waiting all game for them. The Banelings have arrived. We get a storm with the mains. We do. Oh my god. The value storm. Jesus. Don't get much better than that. But Trigger, he still needs more. I still have a massive chunk of Banelings morphing in. High Templar goes down. No storms. Oh no. There's no storms left. Yeah, without Storm, these Zealots, they're just not good enough. Not anymore. Banelings rolling in. More Immortals going down. Storm does zone. Does zone away, but there's just a massive sea of Zerg rolling in. Taking down another High Templar, another Immortal. Down to 1 Immortal left. 1 Immortal, 1 Archon, 1 High Templar. Archon goes down, so does the Immortal. And Elazer just has to keep rallying. Just keep rallying. He has broken Trigger's main army. Another drop into the natural. Banelings morphing in. That Elazer should be able to clean this up. Catching out the final set of Immortals. Up. And Trigger is being broken. Again, I was fond of the build of choice for Trigger. Like, the build made sense. It was all looking solid. It was all looking good. But again, the execution was lacking when it came to lack of warpins, the premature storms. The Trigger's been holding on, but only for so long. Only for so long. As he once again survives. True. Cost him 10 probes. Another drop into the natural. Once again, you could argue that Elazer at this point could be teching up. He is transferring workers over, and we could see like a lurker down on the way. He now starts to drone up, so Elazer, he slows things down. But he can do so at this point. Trigger is holding on, catching up both drop alerts. Elazer still sticking with Lingbane Hydra. No Hive, no Infestation Pit, no Lurker Den. It's fine. Like, Elazer doesn't need it. It's fine. The supply block is hurting. That's a lot of storms, true. Yeah, how many High Templar? 6, Jesus. 6 Templar left over. Lings, they bust into the natural. Hydras, they waddle in towards the bases. These Hydras are going to be cleaned up. Elazer, can he break into the fourth? Oh, the Bailings. Ooh, not quite. Doesn't quite get into the middle, and there's still going to be 16 pros. Oh my god, the Bailings, they connect. High Templar go down. 0 storms remaining. The Bailings are brutal. And we just keep doing this. Once again, Trigger, he barely survives, but he loses all the high-tech units, so the Immortal count was reset. High Templar count was reset as well. Once again, just gets reset when it comes to his high-tech army. Does break an expansion. True. Elazer, he did lose all of his Hydras. Hydra count was reset. Okay. Oh, no. As Lings, they surpass the army. They try to at least. Okay, more probes. 3 more probes going down. Oof. So Elazer is going to be zoned back. Rotating back in. There's 1 storm left. The storm is okay, but there was only 1 storm. And again, Trigger just cannot keep up with these trades. As they keep rolling in, Hydras, they step forward, catching out. What is this? 4 more Archons. Gonna be zoned back. Nice stellar run by. It does distract Elazer. Uh-oh. Elazer, we can keep going. These Archons. We can get them back. Here gets 1. Gets 2. Does, yeah, does snipe all 3 Archons. Does he get 4? Uh-oh. He does. Does he get 5? Jeez. 5 Archons go down. Ay, ay, ay. And this should be the final push. Like, again, the Trigger, he's been dying for the past 15 minutes. Like, it's been a slow death here, but GG gets called, and Elazer, he will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. So GG. GG, well played. A big shout out to Baby Links. Thank you so much for gifting 5 subs to the community and also free subscribing as well. Thank you so much. I do apologize for not giving you a shout out during the game itself, but thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Just catching up in the chat. Like, Wardi seeding has worked out well. I think he claimed it was a player proposal. It was. That's been the case for quite some time now. But thank you, giving a sub to Tom, to Okung, TY, Young King, and Chi Shashak. I'm not even gonna try with that one. But thank you so much. See, Mixo in the chat, Elazer's kind of dead. I believe that message was probably posted when Trigger was pushing for the first time. I agree. Like, again, remember, Trigger, he had like 7 High Templar. He had a mass amount of charge, lots of Immortal as well. Like, Trigger's main push was terrifying. Again, like, the build itself that Trigger had gone for was solid. But if you remember, as we were trying to emphasize, like, he was missing warp-ins, missing reinforcements. When it comes to reinforcing his army, he was banking 1,000, almost 2,000 minerals as he was attacking. Likewise, his storms were a little bit too careless. He was wasting a lot of his storms, and in the end, Elazer somehow survived with purely Ling Hydra against a very storm heavy push. And after that defense, that was game. As I mentioned, like, Trigger, he like was dying for like 15 minutes. Like, it was a very, like, he was hanging in there, barely hanging on, but he never really had any momentum. He could never really threaten Elazer, threaten his bases. Elazer, despite staying on a very lair tech composition, he could just afford to stay on lair tech. Like, he was trading well enough, killing workers, killing immortals, killing and resetting the Archon count as well. GG. GG, well played. With that, we have Elazer advancing on to the grand finals. Ay, ay, ay. It is going to be a best of 5. Best of 5 finals between Elazer and Hero in those finals. I'll be honest, I can't remember the last time we've seen Elazer in the finals. I mentioned before, but Elazer, he took a massive break from StarCraft. Alongside Sort of, and we got a Sort of raid earlier, but alongside Sort of, Elazer, he was playing a lot of AoE. He was playing a lot of Age of Empires instead, for the majority of last year, actually. Or at least for half of last year. Elazer, he was focusing on streaming and playing Age of Empires instead. And it's more of a recent change that Elazer has returned to StarCraft. And again, for Elazer to make it to the grand finals, impressive. Really impressive play. It's refreshing to see him back, especially because Zerg representation is very low, right? Like, it's quite rare to see any Zerg players in these tournaments. So to have Elazer be like, maybe not a regular, but to see Elazer pop up every now and then, we appreciate it. Like, it's a nice diversity and a nice break from the non-stop TVPs, because very often it's either PvP or TVPs here in these online events. So it is nice to break that up a little bit and to have some Zerg in the finals. Let's go.